What's good? What's up, Savvy Gang? So, it's been a few days, and I am coming towards the end of the Judah section that I have been reading in my book. And so, just these last few little sections, and Judah will be done. Um, so I do thank you for your time, for your support. Thank you for the views. Thank you for your well wishes. Definitely thank you for the support, though. Because you don't have to take time out your day to watch my videos, and I know it is not as entertaining as Zeus Network or Gemini Films or you know now that's TV. I know it's not fighting and drama and stuff like that, but this is the truth, and this is important because this is our history, and you can't go nowhere in your future if you don't know your past. So, and I feel that we all have a right to know, who we are, where we come from. So, continuing on, this next section is titled, Why Does the Western World Want Egyptian? Why does the Western world want Egypt under a Muslim Brotherhood? Because, see, we've been, in my previous videos, I've been taking you through and showing you the true route that our ancestors, who are the Israelites, the chosen people of God, I've been taking you through and showing you the true route that they took from Egypt going into Israel. And the Israel today is much, much smaller than ancient Israel. So we're going to be talking more about that. And then I don't know how far I'm going to get, but let's just jump into it. Alright, so why does the Western world want Egypt under a Muslim Brotherhood? The Muslims and the whole origin of Islam was created by the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? And if you get mad at that statement, hey, guess what, brother man? Guess what, sister? I got a whole video that you can watch talking about Islam and how did it come about. There was no Islam before the 7th century. There was no Quran before the 7th century. And I love Brother Rizza Islam down. I love what the Muslims stand for. Love the, Minister Louis Farrakhan. I do. But the truth is the truth. Those brothers that I just named, they're Israelites. Okay? So, the Muslims and the whole origin of Islam was created by the Roman Catholic Church. There is actually a Roman control over the Arab countries. Ishmael, who is one of Abraham's sons, his firstborn son to be exact, Ishmael is in alliance with Esau, but is controlled by Rome, who is Esau, Edom, Idumea. Okay? And when you think of the Jewish bankers, a lot of them come from Amalek, Esau's grandson. Egypt belonged to Israel before the name Egypt came about, and long before Ham, son of Noah and the father of all authentic Africans, even came about. This will be proven by the Bible as well. You will find out why the brothers in Kemet shun the Bible. The Bible gives the truth on all situations. After all, didn't the Creator create the earth? I think he would know who land is whose. Well, you gonna learn today. I will tell it about them pyramids and how this all culminates to the coming of Christ. Also, my people retaining the land that was promised to us by way of our God, Ahia Ashar Ahia, and that's the name that he gave Moses at the burning bush. Ahia Ashar Ahia is Hebrew for I am that I am. His name is not Yahweh, Jehovah, or none of that stuff. Yahweh, no, it's not. It's Ahia Ashar Ahia. Egypt in the beginning, even in the occult world, they know that the name of God, the Most High, is Ahia. They call him Eye, or it's with an E instead of an A. Egypt in the beginning was a part of the Garden of Eden, which was given to the chosen of the Most High, Adam. So, and what I mean by that is the Garden of Eden stretched a lot for, like, it was big. Like the Garden of Eden was pretty huge. It's pretty huge. Um, Adam is the father of what we call the sons of God within the earth, the lineage that would one day receive the garden again. First, let's get a geographical location from within the Bible. Genesis 2 and verse 10. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became into four heads. The name of the first is Pison. That is it which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. There is bdellium and onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasseth the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river is Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria. And the fourth river is Euphrates. And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. Okay, let me see. And I have some pictures, but I will. Let me see. I'll come back. When I found out the truth, I was so deeply moved and inspired, I can't explain how it touched me. A lot of the information presented came from the main group I have learned from over the years, GOCC. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I'm just saying that I learned from them by watching their videos. They have 3 excellent videos on Egypt / Kemet, and most of what you have read is mostly verbatim commentary from the 3 videos. I remember how one of the elders was saying how he started when he was younger. He had to transfer the lessons from VHS tape to another VHS tape, which back in the day was called dubbing or something like that. This was back in the day, and he was talking about how he had to sit there and just listen so the recording was right. But that's how he learned so much. It was something like that. But the main thing is I would sit, watch, listen, and write every word this elder said. They have a Hebrew Bible Academy that I recommend. I was learning so much so fast, I had to start writing this information down. And before you knew it, I went through 2 packs of 150 sheet paper that you buy for kids' school supplies. I still have these notes today, and I just showed them on a few videos back. I just showed it. I think it was either called the behind the scenes or something like that. But it's about like 37 minutes long, and it's one of my more recent videos. So I still have these notes today. At the same time, I was trying to warn my family and some friends who I thought really just knew the Bible and was just oh so holy. They did not receive me. I was hurt at first, not because they did not receive me. Christ said they wouldn't in His Word. I was already prepared for that, and it proved Christ was even more real to me because He told me that my family would not hear me just like they don't hear Him. They have the who am I spirit, aka pride. So in their eyes, how could I tell them anything? Yeah, they have the who am I in their eyes, and how could I tell them spirit, aka pride. It was at that moment that I started to smell deceit, and it was everywhere, especially in all churches, including mine. That is what hurt the most. To see people who I watched going into convulsions, speaking in unknown tongues, and singing beautifully but not righteously. I mean, you can't be the lead singer of the choir and threaten to sue the church if you fall because the ground is slippery, especially if you owe the church money as well as your family. all I could think to myself, all I could think to myself is, how can you claim to know the Bible and know Jesus and this and that, but you don't know the Sabbath is Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, and that you are the true Jews who are Negroes, Natives, and Latinos, or that December 25th is not in the Bible? Now, I really had deep conversations with old heads, elderly, and a lot of them just could not connect the dots. And when I would pull out the Bible and show them, they would get upset. Eventually, because I was being persecuted in other areas of my life, nothing was going right. I shook the dust off my feet and fled to another city where the Most High kept me. He blessed me with a great paying job, a car to get back and forth to work, and now I have a roof over my head, my 1-bedroom apartment. That was I'm not talking about this one, my last apartment. If you've been watching my videos, you know what I'm talking about. It is not my roof, and this is not home. Easy to give it up and walk away if I had to. But I was not defeated thanks to Facebook. I could post daily excerpts from this book. A lot of the lessons in this book came off my Facebook page. The funny thing is, people would flock to my page when I was in the world to see the latest drama I was in. But when I changed and started posting truth about the Most High and who the children of Israel really are, let's just say I don't get a third of the likes on Facebook that I used to get when I posted drama, like exposing DL men. I'm not proud of my past, but my past is my past. Back to the long, drawn out conclusion. Okay, so the pictures above show that the 4 rivers mentioned in Genesis 2, verses 10 through 15, King James Version, compass northern Africa or Egypt. The whole landmass, even before the flood, belonged to Adam, which would lead to the chosen of Adam one day possessing the garden and the areas surrounding it under the command of the Creator. The areas you see in the pictures were inhabited by Adam and his lineage long before Cushites under Ham, after the flood, modern day Ethiopians, even came about. When Ethiopians speak on the Garden of Eden being in Ethiopia, which is the doctrine of Haile Selassie. They are correct in a sense if you are looking at the topic at hand from a pre flood perspective. The mistake that they make is they try to attribute that same perspective to what happened with Hamites post flood. They try to attribute the Garden of Eden to Ethiopians of today from a Haile Selassie perspective, but the land was given to Adam, whose chosen lineage Israel would later reclaim. Let's start pre flood because something happened in that area before the flood. And keep in mind, white historians have twisted truth to paint an image of themselves as God's chosen as opposed to the true chosen. And that's the Negroes, Natives, and Latinos. Genesis 6, King James Version. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120. There were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with the Most High. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was also corrupt before the Most High, and the earth was filled with violence. Sound familiar? And the Most High looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And the Most High said to Noah, The end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. The men of renown in verse 4 are known in Greek mythology as Titans, or children of fallen angels, aka Nephilim. That actually happened. It's not a myth. These inordinate skulls that are being found are not Neanderthal and all the other crap science uses to hide the fact that at one time on this earth, giants ruled. When they find these inordinate skulls and bones of giants and animals that were being cross-spliced, birds and reptiles, that's how dinosaurs got here. When they find these inordinate skulls and bones of giants and animals that were being cross-spliced, birds and reptiles, dinosaurs, the time period was not millions of years ago, maybe thousands, but not millions. Yeah, man. So, and I know they do try to say, "Oh, this was millions of years ago." It wasn't. The Earth is not that old. The Earth is not millions of years old. Like, it's just not possible. But, when they do find these inordinate skulls and bones. Sometimes they try to hide it. Sometimes they try to, or they'll fabricate a whole story, you know. But these things, God did not create dinosaurs. He didn't. That was a product of man. So when they find these species and stuff like that, they just try to explain it away, or they try to zhuzh it up and, you know, put it on display. Look what we found. They good for that. The time period all of this behavior occurred in was the time period of Enoch, the seventh from Adam. While Noah was building his ark while prophesying against the wickedness within the earth, Enoch had been translated into the heavens to send a message to the ministers, angels who were supposed to be ministering to men. Instead of ministering to men, these fallen angels were disobedient to the Most High, and they made a pact, all 200 of them. They taught men all kind of wickedness and sin. This is why the earth was destroyed with water, because of the satanic science dealing with splicing, genetic manipulation, and cloning. So a lot of people do not know this, but you think this technology of them making a liger, or, you know, them splicing and coming up with some type of fish, you know, you think that this was going on before the flood. You think that this is new, and it's not. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay? So even though the earth flooded, the sun was still out. And lo and behold, these people are doing this stuff yet again. Modifying all kind of vegan beef. If I was a vegan, I would never eat. Oh, this was grown in the lab. No, thank you. I'm good. Mm-mm. Yeah, but this is why the earth was destroyed with water, because of the satanic science dealing with splicing, genetic manipulation. You could take that and run with it as far as, you know. So, and cloning. This is where you get half man, half horse, and creatures such as Medusa. This was the satanic science taught to man by fallen angels. That story is real. Okay? And then there's a movie company, I think it's Paramount, where they had the stars coming down, and then they all wrap around that mountain. That's real. That's a real Bible story. It's talking about the angels that came down from heaven, and they met on this mountain, and they made a pact, pretty much saying that they was going to do what they wanted to do, and they was going to teach man different things. And that's what they did. Deuteronomy 3 verse 11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbith of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man. Baby, Og lived so long after the flood, Moses would eventually kill him. That's how long Og lived. That's a pretty long time. To go from Noah up until Moses, that's a long time. So that's a pretty long time to be living. Og lived so long after the flood, Moses would eventually kill him. This verse proves that a remnant of the giants did survive the flood, and that remnant was Og. This verse also destroys any vain philosophy that claims Ham's, Noah's son, wife was Nephilim, or that she gave birth to a giant, and that is how giants made it to the other side of the flood. Wrong.
Isn't
Now, I am sure there's much legend pertaining to how Og made it to the other side of the flood. Nonetheless, we know Og was a giant that survived the flood. Og eventually had children with one of Ham's daughters, and on, meaning their children had children who had children, creating a lineage within the earth. This is how giants came about after the flood. The flood lets us know that usually throughout time, when you are reading the Bible, there is a threshold in which the Most High judged the earth. The flood lets us know that usually throughout time, when you are reading the Bible, there is a threshold in which the Most High did judge the earth. As you can see, we are remarkably close to a judgment. The wickedness has exceeded the time before the flood. I know we are close to judgment because we are overrun by pedophiles, straight and gay, in high ranking elite positions, hypersexual, perverted deviants, and hermaphroditic satanic freaks over the government. I call them the Codies. This has happened before, and sulfur can still be found in the land of Sodom to this day as a testament to the modern people of today, and that is no myth. That is straight up fact. The Most High destroyed Sodom, and it was not just because of the gays. Straight people played a key role as well, but I will speak more about this soon. Oh yeah, baby, and I did. So before you take offense, please go watch the Truth About Sodom and Gomorrah video, because straight people, oh, you did some stuff too. And as a matter of fact, what you did to Lot's daughter, that's why he said, okay, wrap this up. Send them, go ahead, y'all. That was a straw that broke the camel's back. So what happened to Lot's daughter? Was it Pelted or something like that? Go watch The Truth About Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh yes, I will show / tell straight people what they did that actually made the Most High send his angels. Anyway, if you read Isaiah 13, King James Version, which is a future prophecy of Amesica being destroyed. After Revelation 18, King James Version, Amesica will be a desert as well. The reason I mentioned this is because right before Noah was dealing with the ark and events surrounding it, Enoch had been caught up by the Most High and told a future judgment against the angels that sinned against the Most High. Egypt and the region of Jerusalem are both locations where I believe some of these fallen angels could be. I say this because of Revelation 9, King James Version, and we all know that the 10 plagues with the locusts happened in Egypt. This is my spiritual side coming out. No, but I believe there are portals on the earth that spiritual beings, whether good or bad, use to travel. There are shows on the History Channel talking about portals that lead to hell. I don't think that these portals just lead to hell only. That's just the fate of these so-called explorers that talk about these portals that don't have no access. The portals can get you to heaven too, but only the Most High can grant people entrance into heaven, which is why if anyone were to use these portals, they would automatically go to Sheol, Hades, Tartarus, or hell. Take your pick. Or Hades. Oh, I said Hades. Sheol, Hades, Tartarus, or Hell. Take your pick. Humans do not have permission, unless given, to use these portals, nor create them by using magic. And when we do, the penalty is death. Then you will get your trip all right, a one-way ticket. Anyway, did you know that there was a large void found in Pharaoh slash King Khufu's Great Pyramid of Giza? Yes, the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt has a large void that some say could be a bottomless pit. In 2017, scientists discovered a void in the middle of the pyramid using muon detectors and other non-invasive technology. The void is roughly the same size and shape as the Grand Gallery, the pyramid's main corridor. The void's unfinished floor with a hole in the center could symbolize a bottomless pit. There are parts of the pyramids that are still unexplored. An international team of researchers has uncovered a previously undiscovered chamber within the Cheops Pyramid of Giza. Because you know they always got their flashlight going to look for something they ain't got no business touching. Like I said, these are portals, meaning you will not see these portals with the naked eye. If you do see the portal, baby, it's too late for you, because you getting rest to go up yonder now. That's what that means. If you see them portals, that's what that means. You getting ready to go up yonder. Some of the other fallen angels are in the Duodale Desert, which is east of Jerusalem. One of the pinnacles or temples that was before the flood, because of Enoch, who is a priest, lived in the ancient Mesopotamia region of what is known today as the Middle East. Some would also say it's modern day Iraq and Kuwait, but I say it's that whole stretch of land. It takes 10 hours to drive from Iraq to Jerusalem. That's like me going from Minneapolis to Toledo, Ohio, because it's a 10-hour drive. I also seen on Google Maps that it takes 10 days to walk from Jerusalem to Iraq. And don't laugh, because you know our ancestors would walk. Hell, they walked for 40 years. But anyway, the book of Jude speaks of Enoch. If you read the book of Jude, he speaks on a passage from the book of Enoch. This will mean the disciples knew and understood the judgment of these fallen angels as well. All right, this is Jude 5. This is Jude, I'm sorry, not Jude 5. This is Jude, the book of Jude 5 through 19. I will therefore put you in remembrance, though ye once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day, even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Likewise, also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, and speak evil of dignities. Yet Michael, the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke thee. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts, and those things they corrupt themselves. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Kor. These are spots in your feast of charity, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds. Trees whose fruit withereth without fruit. Trees whose fruit withereth without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Ooh, that's going to be. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are murmurers, complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaketh great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage. But, beloved, remember ye the words which were spoken before of the apostles of our Lord Yeshua Christ, how that they told you there should be mockers in the last time, who shall walk after their own ungodly lusts. These be they who separate themselves, sensual, having not the Spirit. Man. And, like I said, I ain't no better than nobody, you know. Definitely, verse 16, these are murmurers and complainers, walking after their own lusts, and their mouth speaketh the great swelling words, having men's persons in admiration because of advantage. How many of us have, complained, and because, we might look at somebody else and they might be doing great, they might have it, they might be living a life, even though we don't know what they're going through behind the scenes, to maintain that or to even get that. Because people do some ugly things behind the scenes, to get ahead. And that is something personal that I am learning as I am the outsider looking in, and I'm able to see people do some ugly things to get ahead. They'll sacrifice a relationship, they'll sacrifice a friendship, they'll sacrifice a family ship, and then we admire, I look at, President Dump, the one that's in office. This man lied over what? 30,000 times, and his last run, his first term. You know, all these people trusted him, and look what's going on. So, but we're gonna get to that too. We're gonna get to that. I don't know if it's gonna be on this video, but the book of Enoch, chapter 10, 1 through 15. Then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and said to him, Go to Noah and tell him my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. And now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again, the Lord said to Raphael, Bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Duadale, and cast him therein, and place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment he shall be cast into the fire. And heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim the healing of the earth, that they may heal the plague, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. And the whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin. And to Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers from amongst men, and cause them to go forth. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have. And no request that they, in example their fathers, make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, Go bind Samjaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, to the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison, in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations. And destroy all the spirits of the reprobate, and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind, destroying all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. I googled this place, Duadel Desert, and it even says how it's located east of Jerusalem. From Jerusalem to Egypt is only 433 miles. That's like driving from Toledo, Ohio to Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin, which is 6 hours and 40 minutes. These locations are not far from each other, and I believe these angels are beneath the earth in these locations. I guess when Revelation 9, King James Version, pops off, we will see. The main angel, the leader of the pack of 200 fallen angels, is named Azazel. I believe that he is bound in chains and darkness under the Great Pyramid Giza or the Duadel Desert. Some of the historians lied and said the Israelites built the Great Pyramid during the time of Ramses. Through my research, I found that is not true. Also, some of the greatest archaeologists, historians, and anthropologists have already done research on this topic. They found out that water was receding from the flood off of the pyramid Giza. They noticed the erosion on the pyramid that had been submerged by water during the Great Flood. They noticed the erosion on the pyramid that had been submerged by water during the Great Flood. Of course, these same archaeologists, historians, and anthropologists, through many attempts, have been silenced. This proves the Great Pyramid is pre-flood. The other pyramids came later. Who built the Great Pyramid? The fallen angels. They used their technology, which is why there has not been another construct such as the Great Pyramid built in modern times, because man does not have the technology the angels use. You can't even fit a razor blade between two of the gigantic stones blocks that was used. There is no machine available today or in the future that can replicate the Great Pyramid and other mega constructs within the earth. But hey, don't mind me, because these are just my thoughts. One day I would love to explore the pyramids in Egypt, even though it is now inhabited by Arabs who pushed the original Egyptians into Sudan. I would also like to visit the Elmina Castle in Elmina, Ghana. Elmina Castle was erected by the Portuguese in 1482 as Castelo de São Jorge de Mina, St. George of the Mine Castle, also known as Castelo da Mina or simply Mina, or Vitória da Mina, in present-day Elmina, Ghana, formerly the Gold Coast. It was the first trading post built on the Gulf of Guinea and the oldest European building in existence south of the Sahara. First established as a trade settlement, the castle later became one of the most important stops on the route of the transatlantic slave trade. The Dutch seized the fort from the Portuguese in 1637. After an unsuccessful attempt in 1596, and took over all of the Portuguese Gold Coast in 1642. The slave trade continued under the Dutch until 1814. In 1872, the Dutch Gold Coast, including the fort, became a possession of the United Kingdom. The castle is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, along with other castles and forts in Ghana, because of its testimony to the Atlantic slave trade. It is a major tourist attraction in Ghana. I know the ancestors are there too, especially by the water. Like I said, one day I will visit these places. was something about the pictures earlier. See, this is showing. See, look, Pizon is showing you where the rivers are at. See, that's the Tigris River right here. See, that's the Tigris. Then the Euphrates right here. That's what this is showing. Look like it's an area of Persian Gulf, generally dry land, until c. 9500 BC. And I couldn't make out what the rest of that said. You can pause this anytime you want to read it. And this is what is next. What is the name of this book? The Lost Scriptures of Giza. Origins of the world's oldest texts. I haven't read this yet, but I'm about to. And when the next time I come on to do showing you the pictures and stuff, then I'm gonna skip this page because I'm showing it to you right now. So I'm gonna start on the next page. I'm showing it to you right now. While I don't subscribe to all the information in this book, there is some key information concerning prophecy and what they found out about the pyramids. The pyramid is actually a prophecy timeline, even including when Christ will come into the earth, ending with judgment. It's all written on the walls of the Great Pyramid. Here on the cover of this book is a diagram that shows a rock slid in place at the bottom of the pyramid that no one can move. People have tried. Who is at the bottom? I think is Azazel, or who the Egyptians call Osiris. In order to know this information, you must know the book of Enoch and Bible in its complete context. This will never be taught in Sunday worship service because 9 times out of 10, they probably are just as clueless. The elite powers do not want this information known in a mass level because then people would find out the Romans, Greeks, etc. all worship the same God, just different names for each civilization, that's very true. Satan slithers in as a snake, and like I said, he started out as a snake in Genesis and grew into a dragon by Revelation. The Roman Catholics worship Satan and they deceive many into following the fallen angels. This is why they burn candles in their church and worship saints who they repainted as white. Also, some of the children of these fallen angels are straight up freaks. Hermaphrodite, having both male and female genitalia like the Baphomet. This is why everything on the earth is being made unisex, such as bathrooms. Hermaphrodite is a spirit of Satan that was created before the flood. Since I know this spirit personally, I can tell you its name is Dionysus. I go further into detail about this in my last chapter of my book titled My Farewell Letter to Being a Fag, Family, and Gullible. But for now, just know, pray against Dionysus. Ward off this evil spirit. Let's see what happened after the flood. Is there a spiritual connection in the same region of Egypt after the flood? Genesis 12, verse 10. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. Our forefather Abraham was a Hebrew, and to the people who say that Abraham was Chaldean, he was amongst the Chaldeans. And yes, he lived in the land of the Chaldeans, but that doesn't make him Chaldean. Are the native Asians that migrate to a Mexican? There's no such thing as a Chaldean race. Abraham is Hebrew. Genesis 14, verse 13, King James Version. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, I have already Given the lineage, Adam has a chosen seed. Hebrew is the language. It was passed down from Eber to Abraham after the splitting of the tongues and lands during the Tower of Babel. That whole region of Egypt belonged to our father Adam, including the land the Great Pyramid of Giza sits on. That's our ish. There will be a mass eviction coming soon. The judge, Ahiah, and his sheriff, Yeshua, Christ, will be putting the current people in the lands today out very soon. We will also take back the land of Goshen, the land known as Alexandria, Egypt, today. All that land and surrounding areas, including the Mediterranean, belongs to the true biblical Israelites. Eberites, or however you want to label us, just know the land belongs to us. It all belonged to us. Also, I originally thought the land of Ham was renamed after a white Roman general um, whose name was Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus. He is also known as Scipio the African. Scipio Africanus Major, Scipio Africanus the Elder, and Scipio the Great. He was a Roman general and later consul, but I stand corrected. Why is the land of Ham named Africa? For years, the name Africa was attributed to the trash mentioned above, but through extensive research, it has been found that the whole landmass known as Africa was promised to the sons of Abraham. I mean, it had many names. You know, like I've already showed you, it was called Ethiopia at one time. And the Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopian Sea. You know, like Ethiopian, but just put an A in front of it. Flavius Josephus, The Antiquities of the Jews. And this is C15. How the nation of the troglodytes were derived from Abraham by Keturah. Abraham, after this, married Keturah, by whom 6 sons were born to him, men of courage and of sagacious minds, Zambran and Jazar, and Madan and Madian and Josabak and Sus. Now the sons of Sus were Sabathan, and Dadan. The sons of Dadan were Latusim and Asur and Luam. The sons of Madian were Ephas and Ophrin and Anak and Abidas and Eldes. Now, for all these sons and grandsons, Abraham contrived to settle them in colonies, and they took possession of Troglodytis and the country of Arabia the Happy. Arabia the Happy? As far as it reaches to the Red Sea. It is related of this Ophrin that he made war against Libya and took it, and that his grandchildren, when they inhabited it, called it from his name, Africa. And I'm going to talk about this later on. I'm going to go more into this. And indeed, Alexander Polyhistor gives his attestation to what I hear say, who speaks thus: Cleodemus, the prophet, who was also called Malchus, who wrote a history of the Jews in agreement with the history of Moses, their legislator, relates that there were many sons born to Abraham by Keturah. Nay, he names three of them, Aphor and Surim and Japhran, that from Surim was the land of Assyria denominated, and that from the other two, Aphor and Jabran, the country of Africa took its name, because these men were auxiliaries to Hercules when he fought against Libya and Antaeus, Antaeus or Antaeus, and that Hercules married Aphra's daughter, and of her he begat a son, Diodorus, and that Sophon was his son, from whom the barbarous people called Sophacians were denominated. Hey, it's history. I be butchering these names, but I do a okay job. But hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna come back and show you. And I'm gonna come back and show you where you can find this and you can read it for yourself. Zeus is not Zeus. Let me be clear. Also, this is a breakthrough because this all happened before the Roman general Publius Cornelius Scipio Africanus conquered Africa. All of Africa except the northern regions given to Ham belonged to Israel. Flavius Josephus, The Antiquities of the Jews. This is chapter 8. That when there was a famine in Canaan, Abram went thence into Egypt, and after he had continued there a while, he returned back again. For whereas the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs, more about Kemet. For whereas the Egyptians were formerly addicted to different customs and despised one another's sacred and accustomed rites, and were very angry one with another on that account, Abram conferred with each of them, and confuting the reasonings they made use of, everyone for their own practices, demonstrated that such reasonings were vain and void of truth, whereupon he was admired by them in those conferences as a very wise man and one of great sagacity, when he discoursed on any subject he undertook, and this not only in understanding it, but in persuading other men also to assent to him. He communicated to them arithmetic and delivered to them science of astronomy. For before Abram came into Egypt, they were unacquainted with those parts of learning. Oh, they were stupid. That's what that's saying. For that science came from the Chaldeans into Egypt, and from thence to the Greeks also. Oh. So you mean tell me they were stupid in Egypt? Oh, okay. I can believe it. When it comes to surgery and the tools to work on the body, math, and science, it was all taught by Abraham, who received the book of medicines that came down from his forefather Noah. Abraham is a Semite, Shem, not Hamite. The greatest deception taught to the Negroes is that we come from Ham, when that is not true. We come from Shem. They don't want the truth to get out, because then we would ask, well, if we are Shem, then who are the people claiming to be Shem? They, meaning the government what is doing now, and the people they always helping out over in the Middle East, the imposters. They don't want to get into that conversation because then their whole house of cards would collapse. You see, I know who these nations are today that are mentioned in this scripture. Do you? Or even better, does your bishop or your pastor know? Do you even know where your race of people come from in the Bible? Which one of Noah's sons did your people come from? Here is a plan that nations will conspire to do against the true Hebrews, make true Israel, Negroes, natives, and Latinos not to be remembered, and it almost worked. This is what the synagogue of Satan tried to do to us. Read Psalms 83, King James Version. They have committed the biggest case of identity fraud, and identity theft. Why else do you not see black people in movies such as Samson, Passion of Christ, Gods of Egypt, and the famously known Ten Commandments with Charleston Heston, a white man that played Moses? They left one thing out of the movie that was in the Bible. Read Exodus 4, 6 through 7, King James Version. That's when he put the hand in it. Notice how in the Bible he changed Moses' hand to white and changed it back to its original color, black. Because Moses was black like that. My question is this: is the reason that they, the movie producers, left that part of the Bible out of the movie because they, the movie producers, couldn't change a white man's hand to white when it's already white? My question is this: is the reason that they, the movie producers, left that part of the Bible out of the movie because they, the movie producers, couldn't change a white man's hand to white when it's already white? I don't know, you tell me. Genesis 15, verse 18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Egypt belongs to the true children of Israel. When you go to Egypt today, you will think the land is owned by Arabs, who are Ishmael. Ishmael feels they can lay claim to Egypt because their mother, Hagar, was from Egypt. But the chosen is Israel. It even says so in their holy Quran. And yes, I will show proof of this later on in the book, in the section about Islam. From Adam to Abraham, all the way up to Christ, our people have always dwelt in Egypt because it truly belongs to Israel. So I already showed y'all the first page. This is the second page. The first page had the blue book on it. And remember, you can always pause this if you want to read it for yourself if you don't like the way I read. These two evil bastards right here. The state of Israel was created in 1948 by the scam, the Balfour Declaration, nothing but a scam to make the world and us think that they were the chosen people. Lies. Psalms 83, verses 3 through 4. Are you seeing it? I know who these nations are today that are mentioned in Scripture. Do you? So the Scripture that I'm talking about is Psalm 83. When it's talking about Edom and Ishmael, I know who these people are today. Do your bishop or your pastor, do they know? That's the question. Alright, so this is Isaiah 19, King James Version. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. Y'all. So, I want you to. What do you see here? No, let me not do that, because then they'll be, no, I'm good. No, thank you. But what do you see here? This is a pyramid, okay? That's because a Messica is Egypt. A Messica is spiritual Egypt. Egypt means bondage. That's what Egypt means, and you can look that up in the scriptures. I've already shown it on my videos, but that's why you have this pyramid back here, okay? Because this is Egypt spiritually. Because who's being oppressed? Us. We're the ones that's being oppressed. And let me read something to you, because this is important. Let's tie this all together. Just because this is okay. I'm going to restart Isaiah 19. Okay? I'm going to restart it, but I want you to listen. Okay? But I'm also, I want you to hear this too. This is Ecclesiastes. This is Ecclesiastes 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. There's no new thing under the sun. So, meaning things are going to be repeated. That's what that means. Okay? Listen to this. This is talking about a massacre. Look at what's going on in our country. Look at this big ugly bill that was just passed that we're gonna talk about probably on the next video. But I'm gonna start over with this Isaiah 19. The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. That's talking about America. Because we have a lot of idols here. We have, and I've told you how these idols, they somehow trap demonic entities onto this plane, onto this turf, onto this landmass. The Statue of Liberty is one. The arch. The arch is another one. The Washington Monument. That's an obelisk. It's supposed to represent a penis. I'm just telling you you can Google this stuff and you will find out. I'm just telling you. I think it's ridiculous, but there's some truth to it. The Pentagon, and how it's, it looks like a pentagram, or the 5-pointed star that witches use. The St. Louis Arch. You have the Golden Gate Bridge. Bridges are spiritual, especially bridges like the Brooklyn Bridge and the Golden Gate Bridge. These are monumental bridges. These ain't just this ain't just even back home in Toledo, the High Level Bridge. That's a hell of a bridge. And Toledo is spiritual for Holy Toledo, just like in Spain. And it's no coincidence, and for all my people that's in Toledo back home, that if you wanted to be popular in gospel music back in the day, you had to go through Toledo. You had to go through Toledo. It's synonymous. Holy Toledo, Ohio, Holy Toledo, Spain. It's synonymous. It all means something. But these idols, they trap these demonic entities onto this plane. That's why when Christ comes back, he's going to, because he's coming back, that's why Dump wants to move the space shuttle around and stuff like that. They're trying to get prepared for when Christ come back. They're trying to get prepared for when those UFOs come back. And Christ's gonna send all day satellites and everything crash into the ground. It's gonna crash to the ground. So the idols, and those idols like the Statue of Liberty, gone, because they're idols. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. Aren't Americans against Americans right now more than ever? Aren't they? Right now, more than ever. We've been, at each other's throats, but now it is more than ever. Now it's and you can take that a number of ways, black on black crime, Egyptians against the Egyptians, white on white crime, Egyptians against the Egyptians, Mexicans against the Mexicans. And they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. That's what lets you know. That's what lets you know this is a future prophecy, because kingdom against kingdom, that's what's going on right now. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. The spirit of America. America wasn't a word back then. America wasn't a word. But when Isaiah seen the vision, he knew what Egypt was. And he knew what that was about. And he knew what goes on there. And I just told you what was going on there a few videos ago. So when he saw this vision about this land, he had to use what he could. I'm trying to describe Egypt. That's what it reminded me of. Egypt. Had to go with what they know. But this is happening right now. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. This ugly spirit that these current administration have. The guy that's in office now, just that whole slogan, make America great again, or whatever they want to say. That's the spirit that's going to fail in the midst thereof. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, the government, Congress, them 4 votes. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. I have to attest to that because ever since 2021, I have noticed the uprise and, tarot and, people, you got people just who don't know nothing. Now they just get a deck of cards and just want to tell you your fortune when theirs is in shambles. And then you got some out here that's working for the other side. They've been fooled. They really think that, oh yeah, pay me 2,000. I'm gonna do this destiny swap spell for you. We gonna swap destinies. Just dumb. Don't you understand that destiny comes from the Most High? And I dare anybody to try to take anything out of his hand. You can't. Destiny comes from the Most High. It's a gift that can't be swapped because you don't got a receipt. But people are, and it's all on TikTok. Do a love spell, attract him. And because it's mostly, aimed at women. But and don't get me wrong, I'm not. Hey, whatever. That's it's on you. But at the same point in time, it ain't for everybody. It wasn't meant for everybody to jump into. They had seers in the Bible. Well, seers in the Bible that didn't need cards. It's people today that don't need cards. I'm one of them. And not to say the people that do use them, there's nothing against them, but no. My intuition is top notch. Very intuitive and emotionally intelligent as well. Just because you might see me go in on somebody, they deserved it. Trust me. They deserved it. And I don't believe in the Michelle Obama. When they go low, we go high. I don't believe in that. Because for the Democrats, how's that working out for you? But anyway, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord. A fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts. So, if you can't connect the dots with, who in office right now. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up, and they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up, the reeds and flags shall wither. I hope that don't mean nothing about them levees. That paper reads by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. The fishers also shall mourn, and all they that cast angle into the brooks shall lament, and they that spread nets upon the waters shall languish. Moreover, they that work in fine flax, and they that weave networks shall be confounded. And if you think about it, people that's all into networking today, you weaving in and out, meeting different people. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that relates to the scripture. And they that weave networks shall be confounded. Yeah, because the people that's weaving the networks and networking and stuff like that, they thought they was going to get them tax breaks and everything was going to be hallelujah hunky-dory. And now they find themselves running to a bunker. How did that happen? Thought our plan was, I thought it was concrete. And they shall be broken, and the purpose thereof, all that make sluices and ponds for fish. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath proposed upon Egypt. The princes of Zoan are become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. Sounds just like a massacre. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, because the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it. In that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan, and swear to the Lord of hosts. One shall be called the city of destruction. In that day shall there be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof to the Lord. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness unto the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt. For they shall cry unto the Lord because of the oppressors, and he shall send them a Savior, and a great one, and he shall deliver them. And the Lord shall be known to Egypt, and the Egyptians shall know the Lord in that day, and shall do sacrifice and oblation. Yea, they shall vow a vow unto the Lord and perform it. And the Lord shall smite Egypt, he shall smite and heal it, and they shall return even to the Lord, and he shall be entreated of them, and shall heal them. In that day shall there be a highway out of Egypt to Assyria, and the Assyrians shall come into Egypt, and the Egyptian into Assyria, and the Egyptians shall serve with the Assyrians. And that day shall Israel be the third with Egypt and with Assyria, even a blessing in the midst of the land, whom the Lord of hosts shall bless, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, my inheritance. What this scripture is saying, what this scripture is saying is the Most High will send forth a spirit through Egypt to destroy the gods of Egypt. Now that the stronghold is being broken, the enemy wants to bring in Islam, which is Christianity for Arabs, pretty much. They both, the stone equals Islam, the Kaaba stone, Ishmael, and wood equals Christianity. Wood equals the cross, which equals Christianity, which equals Esau, Idumea. They both have that militant spirit of join us or you will die. Talk about Islam and Christianity. That's the difference between Islam and Christianity versus Hebrew Israelites. Hebrew Israelites are not coming with the sword saying, join us or you will die. We understand that the Most High gives everyone free will to choose their own path. We are just not in charge of judgment. Remember that. A lot of our people are still in these areas today, and they don't like being Muslim. Some do, but they do what they have to do, partake in Islam, to stay alive in the lands that they live in. This is where Psalms 83 King James Version comes into play. The enemies, mainly Roman Jewish impostors and Ishmael, is Arabs, conspired against the Most High and the true children of Israel to erase our history and rewrite our history as their own. The God or demonic spirit that has been working throughout Egypt will fail, and the Most High will also destroy Egypt's council, government, the leadership. Do you notice the military is in charge over them? This also shows that the Nile River will be dried up, which is a future prophecy in Revelation 16, verse 12, King James Version. There was a newspaper article some years back, over 3 years now. The Zionist impostors made a deal with the ignorant Hamitic people to build a dam in Ethiopia and other areas to stop the Nile River from flow down into Egypt. This could potentially start a war within the region because the Nile waters areas such as Cairo and these imposters are planning and will dry up the Nile. They own parts of Egypt as well as the false state of Israel. With the Vatican's help, they will accomplish this atrocious act of degradation, leading to mass starvations of the remnants of the true northern and southern kingdom of Israel. The elite wants the natural resources in the land. I believe they found mass amounts of natural gas in or near parts of Egypt in 2015. They will make up an excuse or cause terror and blame it on that region so they can go to war and take the resources like they did with Iraq. Certain parts of Egypt will be preserved, just like a few other lands surrounding the Mediterranean. The water goes beneath the crevices of the earth. It is good, pure spring water. But why will the Most High allow this to happen? These dumb fools, Hamitic nations, the sons of Ham, made a deal with the devil. Esau, Amalek, Idumea, Rome, Khazar, Jewish, Zionists, imposters. And the liars said the dam would not disrupt the Nile River's flow. They are liars, just like dump, liars. They will stop the water, and as they die due to thirst and starvation, the Most High will be asking, where is your gods? Where is Allah? Where is Mufasa? Where is Rafiki? Doesn't he know the way? I'm silly. The Most High will crush their idols by showing them that the gods that they worship cannot save them. Egypt was tricked into worshiping Islam. Let's not forget, before the 7th century, there was no Islam, nor Holy Quran. Islam was created by the Catholics to control the people in the Middle East which will lead to a stronghold held in place by Esau, Roman Catholic, and Ishmael, Muslims, both being militant and suppressive, forcing many of our people into one of these two satanic entities. This is why the elite won't let Judah Negroes go in certain parts of the pyramids, because we will see the truth on the walls. And verse 18, the language of Canaan is Phoenician, which is ancient Paleo Hebrew. The pillar will lead to the Great Pyramid, which is a temple used to hold fallen angels unto the great day of judgment. The Most High is doing all these events in which a lot of people will die, but that has to happen in order for him to drive his people back to him. Egypt belongs to the sons of Adam: Noah, Shem, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is why scripture states, "Blessed be Egypt, my people," because the true Hebrews are still in these lands today. What has been going on in Egypt these past few years since early 2000s is Isaiah 19, King James Version. The Most High is shaking their gods up to deliver his people, forcing us to come back to him. Below are pics showing the biblical timeline between Israel and Egypt. Also, there are some pictures showing Abraham and the time period he was dwelling in Egypt. I will say it again. I truly have nothing against Kemet, and I do love ancient Egyptian culture. I can never deny my people walking into Egypt, 70 souls, and becoming a great nation that exited out of Egypt. Egypt benefited from Israel as well, and Israel even saved Egypt. The problem is that Kemet tries to deny the existence of Israel and Egypt, and that is simply foolish. I understand how the impact of what happened during the 10 plagues in Egypt could be devastating. People lost their children and a pharaoh. If I lost my child, I would be mad too. So I get it. Okay, so if I'm being honest with y'all, man, I put these pictures that I'm about to show y'all. I put these pictures in here so long ago. Like, this was like one of the first things that I did. I was able to speak about Egypt. So this was pretty much done. But main point is, I put these in here a long time ago, right? And I didn't fully understand a lot what I was looking at, but as time passes on, you like, oh, and that's how I know it's God, man, because I was not fully sure about some things. And then it's like, I'm talking about back then when I first started, and then once I did the research, I find out that, oh, look, this is what this means. Also, this is traditional dates for the Old Testament stories involving Egypt. Table of biblical and Egyptian synchronisms. Abraham came to Egypt with all his household to the Egyptian king and taught him astrology, uh, astronomy. I was talking about this earlier. It's cut off, but you see zone right down in the corner. Right there. Abraham came into Egypt. They were unacquainted with those. Oh no, it's about that. He communicated to them arithmetic and delivered to them the science of astronomy. Like, for instance, my son's sign is Cancer, right? They didn't call Cancer. They didn't have the zodiac like how we know it today. It wasn't like that back then. So it's astronomy. See, this is why it's important to know history. Emotep was black. Some say Emotep was Joseph. Start there. To all the white seminary theologian teachers out there that really think that Christ is white, or you want to say he's olive. Yeah, he olive, just like the rest of them little boys that white boy is sitting next to. Just like them little white, just like those boys that little white boy is sitting next to. That's black olive. I ain't doing much talking because, baby, I done did it already. So I know I have things in here that is, that kind of contradicts what I stated earlier, which is I believe the Great Pyramid was I believe the Great Pyramid of Giza was here pre-flood because of the water erosion that was found at the top as if it had been submerged underwater. But, what I'm showing you kind of says different. It doesn't really matter because even if the fallen angels or the quote unquote Anunnaki, that's what they are, fallen angels. No matter what ancient aliens tell you, it don't matter. If they didn't build it, then my people built it. My people built it. So it doesn't matter. That's one of those, that's one of those flat earth arguments. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter because it's here. Now, don't play with me because I have done the research on this. So it is an actual theory. But like I said, even if it's, the theory is wrong, then ta-da, my ancestors. Ta-da, see, look. You see? They look like brown people and black people to me. They definitely don't look alike. They differ. They differ. Him don't look like him. And also because of this. He also erected 7 pyramids. And for the pyramids, he devised an elaborate setting, erecting about them great columns, and upon the columns he put suits of armor. And we have reached the end. Just showing you what's next. And this is the actual last section. So this is the last section. And then I got a shabanga for you at the end of the next video. But for now, this is this video. Hey, hey. Definitely appreciate you for coming here and hanging out with me today. Definitely appreciate you. Gold star. Thank you for the support. um, I's hungry now, so I'm going to go get me something to eat, and I'm trying to debate on if I want to just do this last uh, section tonight because I definitely got some other things that I want you to hear, like my critique on a few situations that's going on in the church. A few of the scandals, just the scandals that I want to talk about that's going on in the church. Because it's out there, so it's out there for everybody to talk about. So, I'm going to talk about it. But as of now, I am going to go get me something to eat. I don't know what I'm going to eat yet, but maybe something to eat. And I'm going to have me a Pepsi and a smile. And I'm going to chill out. But no, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for being the best gang, the savvy gang, the savage. Because you a savage. Oh, I guess I can't. Yeah. Wrong. Okay. But y'all have a good night, and I might be back. I might not.